Good evening, welcome back to VP4 Online, and we are back for another match in this year's VP4 10 Ball World Championships. It's another one-loss side match, race to 10, alternate breaks. It's between Miasma and Bedhead. Now that room should be up right now. Quick look though, Miasma ended up in the one-loss side. He was put there by Stubb, who beat him 14 racks to 1. And in that match there. And Bedhead ended up over here by being beaten by, I've totally forgotten, because my head is gone to bed here. Vinces beat Bedhead by 14 racks to 8. In that match there, so that's how Bedhead got over here. Now, Miasma's objective here really is to get more than one rack than he got against Stubb. Now I think they're lagging off at the moment, which is why I can't get in the room. Right, settings, we'll just change that to blue. I wasn't planning to do any streaming tonight because I was working late, and this match has suddenly appeared on the bracket. Good evening, chaps, welcome aboard. So here's hoping I can stay awake. So as I say, we've established Miasma's level at this game. He is most certainly a rookie to be playing in this tournament, and as I say, his objective is to get more than one rack. That's all he should be looking for, because Bedhead should be too strong. Now we've got other matches on the schedule. We'll have a look at that in a little while. There's one, I think, scheduled for tomorrow at 6 PM my time. In fact, we'll just have a quick look just now while Bedhead's messing about. We've got the match between Potman and Interchange X tomorrow night. That's going to be 6 PM British Summer Time. That would be 1 PM East Coast Time. And that would be 10 AM Pacific Time. So we've got that match. And then on Sunday night at 6 PM as well, British Summer Time, we have Mr. Bill and Semi Pro, so something's got to give in that match. Mr. Bill struggled in his match with Romario. He made a lot of errors, but he's not had a lot of practice recently. He's been busy at work. So those are the two matches that I had planned to do anyway, because I'll be able to get them. And there's another couple of matches scheduled as well. There is one for 9 AM tomorrow morning. I'll be at work for that one. And there's also one at 7 PM. Oh shit, that shows you how tired I am. I'm looking at another one, and it's the one we're actually in at the moment. Right, anyway, we're still in the first rack. Oh... And Miasma is going to get the odd chance. It's just a question of whether he can focus enough to try and pot 2 or 3 balls together to get out. Well, the safest way to play this one is just to hit it. Make sure you've enough power to go up and down the table. That needs to keep going. That looks a good pace. Oh, I'm knackered. I mean, I started at 8 o'clock this morning. It was a later shift this morning. I started at 8 and I didn't finish till after 4. And then I got home and I had to do a few things, and then I not long ago had my dinner, so that's also why I'm falling asleep as well, because I normally have a nap, and I haven't had a nap either. Now this needs to be gentle. He's just got it. Well, he's took the risk there. Managed to stun the 7 onto the 9. and that held the 7 there, but that's a bit risky to play it that hard. And now that needs to just slow up. And this is where you got to string this extra ball, get that 8 ball put away, and get up the table. Oh dear. And that's the sort of things that are happening for Miasma. It just, that level of consistency you need just isn't there. So the missed call, and that's the sort of things that was happening to Miasma again. Stubby just couldn't get that string of balls to get a lot of the racks where he did have a chance. But that again would only come through time and play. The more you play the game, the more you begin to learn. So Bedhead's off and running. Miasma had a very good chance. The break's gone back to Miasma, and no shot in the 1. So the choice is the push out, or is it? Was it 2 balls from the break? I can't even concentrate. I can't remember whether he's potted a ball or those 2 balls were off the break. Well, all the balls now are wide open, and of course Bedhead should very quickly make his own judgment. He probably would have a fair idea having seen the result between Stub and Miasma, so there's a lot less pressure on Bedhead. No, I won't be. Definitely not. That's definitely a no-no. I'm going to get to my bed. Well, this is more important to get archived than the Friday night 9 ball when this is on. Extremely thin cut in that 4 ball. That 4 ball is just beyond the line from that middle pocket. You know, it's just the other side of it. It will still go, but it has to be a feather touch on the 4 for it to go in, even off that jaw. Very thin. Well, you got it. And I think the bounce is going to be good. So again, Miasma's in a position here where everything is there. The 6 goes past the 8, but it's doubtful whether he can hold himself together to get these. Now looking at the shot he has in the 5, it's just a simple kill shot in this 5. Stone dead, leave the cue ball where the 5 is, or thereabouts. So you just go on that other side of the 6, and this is just a wee bit awkward, and really needs to come up the table for this 7. You see, he's not willing to play the right shot. Had to get up the table back towards us to be able to take that 7 past the 9 ball there. So now he's left with a bank. And the chance is gone. And that's going to be the story of this match, which is exactly developing exactly the same way that the Stub match went. Miasma's had 2 chances, could in theory be 2-0 up, and he's going to be 2-0 down, barring a complete mistake here by Bedhead. And perfect little angle on the 10 for a stun. This is a shot where you play a little stun onto the rail and out for the 10, or you just run it, whatever you prefer. So 2-0. Miasma's still looking for a rack, and anything more than 1 would do. And when you've had two very good opportunities and you haven't put them away, you start to wonder. So Bedhead's come up dry this time. Miasma's got no shot, and not really many places you could go for a push out here where you're going to be able to cover that one ball. I suppose it could actually just roll to the short rail by the 9 ball, or sort of the middle diamond in that short rail, and that would leave Bedhead no shot in the 1, unless he couldn't cut that. Well, there's no ball hit a rail, so it's ball in hand. But the safety shot or the push out would have been to there, and on that there, with the 1 ball being there, the 1 ball wasn't been able to be cut. So Miasma didn't see the shot. The Restream bot is the website that you let Restream connect to whatever channels you're streaming to, so it allows you to stream to more than one channel. So for example, there's a lot of different social media sites that it's connected to. I mean, if I wanted to, I could have it connected to like half a dozen different websites if I was streaming to them. And Restream bot mixes all the chat together so that I can see on my screen chat from Twitch, chat from YouTube, and chat from Facebook. So I've got 3 channels that I've got activated. The Restream bot just converts it all into the one chat stream for me on screen, which is handy. It is a site where you can pay a premium service for other stuff, but I don't do that. I just need to have it for the channels that I've got. Very handy thing. So Bedhead gets distance. Now you can get a thin edge of that 4 ball on the right hand side and try and, with a little help and spin, bring the cue ball down towards the 6 and the 8 and the 9 ball. There's a path there for a safety, but you have to get that 4 thin, and you have to avoid hitting the 7. You can only do that by spinning it to the side rail. So again, Miasma isn't seeing the safety shot, or what I should say is he's seen a different way to try and get a safety than I am. The obvious one was what I suggested. 7 balls there. If you can get a thin edge on it, spin it to the rail and get that cue ball down here, the 4 ball would have ended sort of along there somewhere, and you would have at least had some cover. Now, everybody should be looking at all the aspects of their game. Potting balls is fine, and VP4 makes it a lot easier to pot a ball than you'd ever do on a real life table. But the other aspects of the game, the safety side of it, is something that you can develop. Miasma needs to look at that to improve the game, and then once you've learned the rudiments of that, you have to then learn how this cue ball's going to work and what you can do with spinning the cue ball to get that cue ball not necessarily under 100% control, but to get it in a general area that you're planning to get it in, because that's the only way you can then start running racks and clearing tables. But the position he's left there was not an impossible shot, but a very, very slim chance of cutting that in. And at the moment, Miasma can only rely on Bedhead getting to the business end of the rack with maybe 2 to 3 balls left and making a mistake and letting miasma come in to try and pinch it. So the challenge here is to judge the pace to get on the 10. The high cut is usual for Bedhead, and the pace is where it should be, down by the middle pocket. That's always the best place to be when the 10's in that sort of area. So it's going to be 3-0. Into rack 4. Miasma breaks off, it's dry. And every ball is in the top half of the table. Bedhead could play the safety, a simple enough safety shot, push the one down the table towards us and spin the cue ball in amongst those balls in the middle of the table at the top where the 6, the 7, the 9 and the 4 are, and look for some cover in there if he wants. Or he could bank the one, although the 2's not in a great position. Well, he's managed to squeeze the 1 past the 2, but of course he's not going to be able to do an awful lot with the 2 ball. So he just put himself in trouble there. Again, Bedhead is probably a lot less likely to be looking for safety shots. He's more than likely just to be looking to get into whatever's on the table and get the match over with. Well, the 2 ball, the 3 ball and the 4 ball are there for the taking. And that is fine. Just a little roll in the 3. Now, ideally, he wants to get this cue ball onto the rail there at the end. That way you're cutting the 4 towards that other corner pocket on the left hand side, and the cue ball's going up the table for the shot at the 5. And I think he's gone dead straight, I think. Yeah. Gone dead straight. Can hit this really firm and pinch a little angle and stun up the table for the 5. It looks as if he's playing the draw. You see he's got the wrong English on it there, you see. So that again, that was played with bottom left English when it should have been bottom right to get the cue ball to spin up the table. Now that's something I would hope that miasma would watch and learn. If you play the right shot, you have to try and create that angle when you're on a straight shot like that, and to do that you have to draw back with bottom right English so that when the cue ball hits the rail like there, it goes up the way. When you play it with the wrong English, it hits the rail and checks and just sort of stays where it is. So that is another learning process for miasma. Once you've got that sussed out and you've sussed out how the English works, it makes you a far better player. And another chance for miasma to get a decent safety. Got to get that 5 ball very thin though, because if you play it on the right hand side, you're going to be cutting it out into the table, and this is going to end up set up for Bedhead, I think. you know, the thing about players like Miasma who are, and again, if Miasma was a real life player, you would have hoped that they would have picked up certain shots if they'd been playing down the local pool hall. But if they're new to Virtual Pool 4 and if they don't play or never have played in real life, then you have to then start from scratch. And one good way of learning is to get in and watch the better players playing the game and pay particular attention to where they're putting that Q-tip on the cue ball and how the cue ball's reacting, particularly when it goes to a rail. And then you can work out what they're doing and work out how that cue ball is doing a certain thing when that player plays a certain type of shot. Well, the opportunity is always going to be there for Miasma if they want to learn. It's wide open for them to learn. And through time you would hope to see a little bit of progress. But there's a lot of players here have never... A lot of players don't progress because all they do is they play the same way all the time. There'll be the odd one or two will come in and start, and then, you know, a lot of players get disheartened very easily, which is why a lot of them stick to the offline. They like that immediate success you can get against stupid AI players who, you know, especially if you set the offline to sort of numpty level, where the AI player will miss a straight in shot and you get the success. If it's instant success you want, then you stick to offline and you don't learn anything. It's not until you get competitive online and you do it on a regular basis that you're going to improve your game. But how well you improve your game depends how much you want to, how much that you can absorb, either by playing, by trying certain shots, or simply by watching a lot of the better players at the game. To me, you've got to be wondering, why is somebody, you know, so good at this? Then you watch them and learn. That's what you do. So Bedhead is going to call the reverse bank on the 5, 4-0 up. And it's something like this where Miasma's bound to get another chance. So the 5 ball's been miscalled. Now Miasma has a choice. He can either play from where he is, or he can put Bedhead back in, and of course Bedhead would come in and pot the 8. So again, Miasma's under pressure to get this 8 ball, and hopefully for his sake get himself a shot in the 9 that is not too difficult to get himself off the mark. And that's a good pot. Now that is going to run nice. There's a little bit of spin just to come out and straighten up. It's not quite straight into the middle pocket, but if he gets the pace right, he can go down the table and back up for a shot in the 10. And that won't be a better chance than this to get a rack in the board. Big margin of error here in this. As long as you play it pocket weight, it should go in. So he's off the mark, and that's a start. And also with the break in rack number 6. Well, it's dry. And this angle in the one, if he had played it into the right pocket, it was probably an odds-on scratch if he had played that. Well, again, it's a very thin cut into the middle. Cue ball's going all over the place here if he plays it. Won't have any idea where it's going to end up. Again, the safety shot is on to get up into that top left hand corner of the table and keep distance. He's just pushing the boat out too far on these type of shots, desperate to impress, and that's not going to get you a lot of success. He has to reel himself in and look for safety, look to keep distance between that cue ball and the 3 ball there. That was a shot. And Bedhead, I think, has found a gap. It's a narrow gap, but he's on it. Oh dear, the yawn had started already. Well, anywhere in the top half of the table will do, really. Making sure that you avoid blocking yourself off with the 8 ball. You've got the whole half of the table to get up into. So there's no problem here. I think I would have played it a bit harder than that though. But anyway, the 9 balls more or less over the corner. Sorry, aye. So there's nothing to do to get on it really. So it's going to be 5-1. Here's something to mention to you guys. I've been using Firefox for years, and recently with Firefox, whenever I've been browsing on it, had a couple of pages on it up and running, suddenly my PC just shuts down and my PC restarts, and it's not an overheating issue, because that's the obvious thing you always try and check. And the other thing is there's no errors in the Windows log either. And so I googled it, and I googled what did I Google? I googled why is Firefox shutting down my PC, and there's loads of guys who it's happened to over different periods of time, and that's exactly what's been happening to me. I could be browsing on Firefox for a while, nothing happens, and then all of a sudden I'll hit a tab on Firefox, and then boom, PC just shuts down and restarts. And then what did I do? I reinstalled what do you call it, Google Chrome, because obviously Google recommend you use Google Chrome, and I've used it in the past. So I thought I need to get rid of Firefox. I haven't got rid of Firefox. I've still got it because I had to transfer all my bookmarks and all that stuff. But here's what happened with Chrome. With Chrome, I installed it 2 days ago, and it was working fine, not a problem. Got all my bookmarks in it. Everything was fine, and then I shut the PC down that night. Got up the next day, put the PC on. Once it had booted up, I then clicked on the shortcut for Chrome, and you'd get the little egg timer as if it was doing something. you know, to load up, and it wouldn't load. And I couldn't get into Chrome a day after having installed it. So I googled that as well, and seemingly there's loads of people get the same problem with Google Chrome and Windows 10. The bloody thing decides just not to work, and it goes on about, you know, deleting. I went on to a YouTube, what do you call it, a YouTube video with a guy telling you to delete a certain DLL file and then restart your PC. I did that, made no difference. So all I did was re-download Chrome and reinstall it, and it worked. And when I switched the PC on tonight, Google Chrome's still working. So these bloody browsers, a lot of them don't like Windows 10 for some reason. No, it's not the antivirus, because you do the obvious things. You switch the antivirus off first of all. I did all of that stuff so to narrow down where the problem is, but there's definitely a problem with Firefox and Windows 10 on my PC. It does not seem to like it, and I'll tell you something. I think it's to do with an update, and I don't know whether it's a recent update for Firefox or that last sort of big update that I had for Windows. And Windows 10, I think, is notoriously got problems with lots of different software. So anyway, I'm on Google Chrome now, and having browsed on it for the last 2 days, I haven't had any problems with the PC shutting down. I mean, there's not a problem with overheating. It can't be, because when I'm running games, which is probably the most stress you'll have in your PC, with the graphics card and everything, and your fans running, I've never had the PC shut down when I'm running games. So it's nothing to do with overheating. It's a bloody trigger that's shutting the PC down. Goodness knows what it is. Bloody, it's frustrating more than anything else, apart from annoying. Anyway, back to this match. Bedhead going through the motions here. 5-1 up. And of course the next objective that Miasma had is to somehow find a way to win another rack. Oh, I wouldn't go back to Windows 7 now. Oh no. No. I mean, I spend most of my time when I've installed Windows, when I did the upgrade to Windows 10, I spent most of my time getting Windows 10 to look like Windows 7, so I know my way around about it. See the standard Windows 10 desktop page with all these app things on it? I can't get my head around that at all. So I installed that, I can't remember what you call it, but it gives you the normal Windows button. And you wouldn't know that my PC had Windows 10 on it, because it looks exactly like I'm used to on Windows 7. And with the way that is, I'm perfectly happy with it. But I doubt very much whether I'll be using Firefox too much in the future. So, it's now 6-1 to Bedhead. Break goes back to Miasma. Well, how else do you set up Windows 10? How do you set Windows 10 up the wrong way, and how do you set up Windows 10 correctly? I mean, if you're upgrading to Windows 10, it does everything. It installs everything. So there's not much else you can do to it to make it stable. At least you wouldn't think so. I don't know whether Windows 10... See, this PC that I've got, it came with Windows 10 on it. It was already installed. So I didn't do an upgrade on this from Windows 7. My old PC, or my older PC, is the one where I did the upgrade to Windows 10. I don't use any of the Windows apps at all. I never get near all of that shit. It's of absolutely no interest to me. Oh, that used all of the pocket. Well, this is a little bit awkward. Right, see you later, Tin. Yes, this is used for everything I do, this PC. I mean, put it this way, if there was problems with my PC overheating, I couldn't stream because the PC would be unreliable and it would cut out mid-stream. It's never done that. And the PC sitting here just purring away like a kitten. It is running very sweet. So it's now 7-1. So Miasma is running out of racks to get this second rack on the board. That's the objective. Try and get more than one rack. And don't forget he had those 2 chances in the first 2 racks of the match. And this time Bedhead plays the safety. He hasn't quite got the cover, but that's the second prize is getting distance. See, again, a weakish safety from Miasma. It doesn't put any pressure on Bedhead. Bedhead's going to go for the pot on the 1. It's going to be a 6-9 combination, or more than likely a billiard. The 6-9 billiard shot from the 6 to the 9 looks easier. If he doesn't get a good line on this 6 ball. So he should be just trying to get over to the right rail here. And he's left it short. And he's okay, he's not hampered by the 10, so. But it would ideally want it to be right on the rail to make this a wee bit simpler, but in all honesty, he shouldn't have much problem in lining this up. Now this 6 ball is going to go along the short rail here. And that's the only way it can go wrong like that, so Miasma might still have a chance. Now, is Bedhead going to call the bank? Yes, he is. Well, he's played it a sort of semi-attempt at the bank and safety, and he's blocked himself off in the 7, so there still possibly might be a chance here. I don't think he can get to that 7. He'll probably jump to it and maybe jump off the table here. Oh, he's played it well. That was sweet. Nice little jump shot. And the usual high angle cut here for Bedhead. Keeps leaving these type of shots every time I've watched him, and that's why he misses stuff like that. Leaves it far too high up the table. And we know what these pockets are like. There's no give as soon as you hit the point. But Miasma's not got much going here. Oh, that was an excellent pot. He's going to have to dig out another one. This is tough as well. But it's all out for the pot and don't scratch. That's the objective. But this to get 2 on the board, oh, he's cut it way into the rail. And again, no use of the shot clock at all. Just desperate to play the shot. Should be sitting looking at that angle, getting the visualization of the cut point on that 10 ball and then play the shot rather than racing into to play it. So a good chance gone there for Miasma to get his second rack. The error came from Bedhead. Getting out of line and too high on the 8 ball. So there's 20 minutes to go before Friday night 9 ball. Well, with this ball in hand, Bedhead's still got to deal with that 6 and 8. The 3 ball, I think, goes as long as you can get there. But the 2 ball is on that side rail, so he's got to get up top of the 2 ball, which shouldn't be a problem with ball in hand. And he has to get an angle on that too. No, I'm not streaming that, no. No, Simon, I wasn't planning to do any streaming tonight, and then I heard that this match was arranged. I'm far too tired. And wouldn't you know it, Bedhead's left him an impossible cut again. That's how Bedhead gets out of shape a lot of times. He does it all the time. Gets himself leaving these very acute cuts on shots to keep a run going. And he will make the mistakes. You just cannot keep potting those balls. Now let's have a look at that 310. Well, it's nowhere near set that side anyway. And that was a nice shot. That's sitting pretty on the 4. He's still got that 6 and 8 to deal with. Well, again, he's going to be playing it from distance because he's got the wrong angle on the 5. So he's going to have to avoid the 7. Or if he hits the 7, get a little brush half ball. Well, he's decided just to roll it in. But again, he's not lined up on it. But it's easy to pick the cut point on that 8 ball because it should go in this. You expect this 9 out of 10, but he's just managed to cheat the pocket. Hit the wrong button there again. And that's the right thing to do. Now call a pocket or something here if you're going to hit it. Well, he's hit it soft to try and get it safe, and that'll do. That's not bad. May well find himself in trouble again here though. The Bedhead's not going to play the snooker. He's going for the bank. Oh, he is going to play it. And that's got miasma in lots of trouble. Now once again, this time, if he's going to hit it with power, which he'll need to get to the 6, he should call a pocket of at least any pocket down this bottom end of the table here. And this is the mistake that a lot of players do in 10 ball, looking for a kick and not calling a pocket. Well, he's deciding to call a pocket. That's good to see. He's way offline. So Bedhead now with ball in hand, leading by 8 racks to 1. And this should be the one that takes him to within 1. Well, if you look at if you go and look at that match with Bedhead and Vince's, you can make your decision as who was the better positional player in that match, because Vinces was streets ahead of Bedhead, and that's, you know, that 14-8 margin was a well-deserved margin of victory for Vinces in that match against Bedhead, most certainly. Stubb, I mean, it sounds funny, but Stubb's got the tendency to get himself way out of shape and recover it with a pot. But that's how he makes his mistakes, by not getting as good a position to keep running. You know, when the balls are out in the open, you know, that's fine. But if you've got something in the rail, he's leaving high cuts as well, and having to pull things out to try and keep runs going, and you're always going to fail at some point. I think Cobra's quite a good positional player in 9-ball, but he generally plays his challenge rooms anyway. But when he gets on a run, his cue ball control's usually pretty good. Well, now we've got a cluster of balls that's going to have to be dealt with. We've got the 7-8 and the 9 all knitted together on the right hand side. Yeah, Gary's a good solid player. Semi-pro in this tournament, in the matches I've watched him, has been pretty solid, and his pace on a lot of the shots has been excellent, which is all good ammunition for the matches that have still to come. Well, the breakout is there. We've got the 7, 8, 9 split up. Bedhead can't get to the 3. At least I don't think he can. Well, I could see an edge of it. Oh, that's a nice little shot there. Just sneaking around the angles to get a shot in the 5. Now, this would be a great rack to win. I mean, there's not a lot to do with the cue ball on this 6 ball. And once again, nothing to do on this 8 ball. As long as you pot it with the right pace, you get the cue ball out to the right hand side. Don't leave it short on the left hand side, and don't hook yourself. Oh, where's this going to kiss off? I thought it was going to brush onto the 9 there. Well, this cue ball wants to run away to the left, so it's going to be a tough 10 ball if he doesn't get a hold of this cue ball. If he just runs this plain ball, he's running away over here. Yep. Well, it's not left easy for Bedhead, but all he really needs to do is cut it and go across the table twice to leave the distance pot in the 10 ball. He'll not be trying to do anything spectacular, just trying to pot this and then back across And that gives him his shot for the match. So we'll have a look at the bracket. And Bedhead wins the match by 10 racks to 1. Poor Miasma had at least three solid chances to get that second rack in the board, but didn't quite manage it. But there's always another time, and there's always plenty of time to get some practice in. So let's see how that shapes up on the one-loss side. Let me see, get this refreshed. Where are we? Well, I think... where the hell is the thing? There it is. Well, Bedhead's going to have quite a while to wait to the latter stage of the month before he's going to have another game, I think, because this part of the bracket's dead at the moment. There's nothing happening there. So we've got a match tomorrow morning, 9 AM my time. I won't be able to get that. We've got the match tomorrow night between Popman and Interchange X, and Interchange X and Popman, well, Popman just has to cut out. If Popman can reduce his errors, then he has a chance against Interchange X to stay with him. But Interchange X, I would think, is the favourite for that match. And then the other one we have is the one on Sunday between Mr. Bill and Semi-Pro. So tomorrow night is my next match I'm going to be streaming. Popman and Interchange X, 6 PM, 1 PM Eastern Time, and 10 AM Pacific Time. Right, so until that time, chaps, I'm just going to chill out for the rest of the evening and head to bed earlier tonight. So until we meet again, thanks again, chaps. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.